I just wanted to talk about how the LA Rams have given Matthew Stafford, his agent, and Matthew Stafford as well, permission to speak with other teams. So, with that being said, I have a question that I want to propose.
Okay.
So, now that Matthew Stafford is allowed to seek a trade partner, this opens the doors for multiple teams to try and bolster their QB position. Should the likes of Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, etc., not be on the table for the Raiders seem like a team that might have a real chance of going after it. The question that I propose is, would the Raiders look to make a trade, or would they stand pat trying to find a QB through the draft? Now, one thing to note, reporting came out today that Stafford believes he is worth $50 million a year. That could definitely change a lot of teams' tunes about him. So, as you guys can see, there's a wonderful picture that we put up today of what Matthew Stafford might look like in a Raider
Whoa.
uniform. Do
Look
we
at
like it?
that.
Shout out the
Look,
tech department.
that's right. We'll get that
What are we
second.
thinking, boys?
He's got to earn that second T in Matthew, but other than that, it looks great.
Yeah. The second T that got credited out there, but that's fine. He's got to earn
Yeah,
it.
no, it got it's on the injured list.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do we think,
It's on
boys?
IR.
Are you liking the idea, Sam?
It's not going to happen. I mean, one, what is it going to cost? What is it going to cost? I'm not paying a first. I'm not paying a second because one, as great as he is, the Raiders are far more than just a quarterback away.
Sure.
So, yeah, it does change some things where if you were able to trade for Stafford, let's say you were able to get him for a handful of third and fourths and things like that, and you sign him to a new contract. It does advance, like, can you take a running back in the draft? Do you take a defensive person in the draft? Like, what do you take in the draft, right? But you still need to add to the wide receiver room. You still need to add to both sides of the ball on the line. Um, I just don't see it this year. To me, this would be a this year move.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's this year. I think it's next year and the third year that you got to look out for. I think this year what you're looking for is to be competitive and hopefully be one of those teams that sneaks into the playoffs and see what happens once you're in. But to go all in on Matt Stafford where it's a 2-year run plus the injuries, can you really trust this guy? Um, Depending on what the capital it's going to take, you may say goodbye to your quarterback of the future in the draft this year or next year. So I'm out. I love Matt Stafford, but I think what the Rams are going to want and what the Raiders are willing to give up, it's not going to work out. And honestly, I think Matt Stafford is going to end up staying with the Rams. I think somebody will say, "Yeah, we'll give up a second rounder," and then they're just going to come to an agreement and stay a Ram.
Yeah, I think the Giants are probably going to be the team that is going to push hardest because both the GM and the head coach, they are that seat is getting mighty toasty, and if you've got they don't have a quarterback at all. They had Drew Lock was starting games at the end of the year for them. So that's embarrassment. They cut Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. He was
I
garbage, like and he was better. He was the best option they had, and he was garbage. We know that at this point. So
Well, just remember, Mara always said, I'm not paying a running back $10 million. I'm not paying my quarterback to hand off to a $10 million running back. So we see how
yeah,
that worked out.
yeah, exactly. They're just stupid mistakes on top of stupid mistakes in that poverty franchise, basically at this point. Except they're in New York, so they're not really poverty per se, but like they
Yeah.
behave
Well,
like it for sure. And
they're
I just like the Giants. I think it would be a possible landing spot for him, but I also see the Giants just being used as leverage to try to get a better deal out of somebody else because I wouldn't want to go there if I was Matthew Stafford. Yeah, you have Malik Neighbors as an excellent young up and coming talent. I know I won a lot of games early in the season in fantasy football with him. But it's just that's the other than that, it's not the line's not that great. You don't have a running game to speak of. The defense is mid. Right now, I just I
Well,
think it's
I would say
overall.
their defense was probably one of their strongest
It
suits.
was the best part of that team for sure, and they still finished second. Like they're picking number 2,
Yeah, but
number 1.
they
Yeah.
also, I think they finished like 5th in team sacks in
Well,
the
yeah,
NFL.
okay, yeah, they can get to the quarterback, but like coverage and stuff like that, like when they're
Correct.
and run stopping and stuff like teams, they were allowing all like they were just on the field a lot is part of the problem, obviously. And maybe if you have a better offense, the defense just gets better through osmosis of not having to be on the field as often. But
Sure.
but overall, just raw numbers or whatever, their defense is not that great. So if I'm at Stafford, I'm not going to the Giants if I can help it.
Well, I think
Unless they fork over the $55 million a year
yeah,
or whatever, like something
yeah.
crazy.
Money talks. Obviously would be a trade, so it's not even if there is the money, it doesn't mean that the Rams have to agree to it, right? So I guess there's always that part of it. But I guess the question mark is there's no O line. So why would anybody want to go there?
The Giants draft 3rd overall, just for clarification.
Third.
Okay.
Apologies.
3rd overall. Yep.
And it sounds like the Titans are trying to make a push to get that number 1 pick to trade for it at least. So,
moving up from 2 to 1.
They're trying. They think
The
that
Browns?
No, the Titans.
The Titans.
The Titans have the number 1 spot.
No, it's the is it the Titans? Oh yeah. You're right.
Oh, no, it's okay. Titans, Browns, Giants.
Titans, Browns, Giants. You're right.
Got it. So I mean, again, the O line is the question mark. So I don't know why Stafford would want to go there either if he were to waive that clause and want to go sign with them. But again, it sounds like Russell Wilson's in play. Sam Darnold's going to get somewhere, and I honestly think that Kirk Cousins might end up landing in New York just because nobody else is really going to take a flyer on him, and New York needs a quarterback. So I could see that happening very easily, in my opinion. But I think the 50 million reporting really kind of maybe soured some teams to maybe not push as hard as maybe they were probably going to do until they heard that report.
What teams do you think are just a quarterback away? Right?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So, I mean, like,
just a quarterback, like the quarterback.
There's none.
Quarterback gets them into a playoff spot, is what you're saying, right? Like,
so I think if you're Stafford, if you're canvassing the scenery of like potential landing spots that could give you 45, 50 million in your final 2 seasons or so,
maybe the Lions. No,
right? That would be
back to the Lions.
That would be chaotic.
That would be great. I would like that just for drama purposes.
Yeah.
But
oh my god.
I just don't see. I just see him going back as a Ram. Like, why would you want to go anywhere else? At least with the Rams, they've been drafting well. They're building. They got a young nucleus. Like, you might as well just ride it out and stick with the Rams. They're going to treat you good. You could figure out a number. Be comfortable.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the teams that are like I'm just looking in the NFC. I'm like none of the situations where they need a quarterback are just a quarterback away. And then I mean the Browns, like if they do end up not trading the defensive lineman, why am I blanking on his name?
Now you got me drawing a blank on his name. I can see his face.
Yeah. Anyway, so like if they end up holding on, I think that defense is definitely not bare bones, to be sure, and they are a quarterback away, but I mean they have Jerry Jeudy. He looked pretty good with Jameis. So I mean
Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett. That's who it is. The Jaguars. They just paid Trevor Lawrence, so they're going to ride with Trevor Lawrence for another 3 years until he craps out, I guess.
Do you think
the Colts?
Do you think
maybe it's the Colts.
Could be the Colts. Do you think that if Miami were to keep the offense that it has, that they're a quarterback away?
I think
good argument.
Yeah, I mean, because of the injury questions with Tua, who like literally has a countdown from Varsity Blue from what was it, like Not Another Teen Movie, making fun of Varsity Blues, concussions left until Robbie Ray dies or whatever, and it just keeps ticking down. Like that's what they got on the scoreboard in Miami for Tua. So like I mean, I think that Miami could be interesting, but I don't know. Like that would mean officially giving up on Tua, and not only that, you're like financially, I don't know their situation either. So I don't know if they're capable of doing that. I think Tua is good enough when healthy. That they're at least a playoff team for sure. And when you're in the playoffs at that point, so it takes a little bit of luck as well.
Yeah,
So
sure.